Hello, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys about the last little bit of my cruise, which was visiting Catalina Islands. So let's get into it. I'm kind of sad to already be to the end of my little series about my cruise. Obviously, it wasn't a super long cruise, so it's not like I really need to spend forever on it. And I mean, there obviously is still more to tell you guys about other than just the Catalina Island stuff, but I figured it would make the most sense to keep it to like a 3-day kind of video series. So let's get into Catalina Islands though. So that morning we woke up and, the entire day before we had been just on the sea, it was just ocean. And so we look out the windows, we go to breakfast actually, and sit right by the windows and we look out and we can just see Catalina Island. And it is so, so beautiful. I don't know for sure if I have a picture of it, but if I do, I might insert it here. But it was just gorgeous seeing it out the window. So we ate our breakfast and then we went and we got on the island. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful, but it was a little bit rainy. So we were struggling the whole time to not just get drenched. I was a silly goose and picked out a jacket that didn't have a hood. AKA, I didn't think that it would be raining. I didn't expect that to be a thing, so I was not adequately prepared, but it was okay. But it was pretty warm. It was like warm rain, and so instead of just, letting my hair get drenched or whatever, instead of wearing my jacket normally, I just like draped it over my head and walked around like that, and it probably looked a little silly, but at the end of the day, I was like, who really cares? Like, it was whatever, and like, it didn't save my hair. By the time we got back on the ship, it had completely straightened out. Like, the curls were gone. It was pretty sad, but it helped a little bit. I got less water in my eyes that way, and I really dislike getting water in my eyes. Like, yeah, so it was okay. I'm like the kind of person who wants to have like a towel to the side of the swimming pool, so every time I pop out of the water I could dry my eyes. I don't actually do that just because I don't go swimming that often, but if I did go swimming often, there's a pretty high chance I would do that. So just a little fun fact about me, I do not like having water in my eyes or near my eyes, or even worried about them getting in my eyes. It's just not for me. So yeah, that was why I was so just not. Oh, what is this hair doing? I was just not, I didn't want rain in my eyes, so yeah. And I also had like makeup on and obviously didn't want to make a huge mess of that. It was still pretty rough looking by the time we got back on the ship, but it was okay. But yeah, I promise rain wasn't everything. There was a lot of rain, and so that was worth mentioning. But let's get into the fun stuff. So we started by, there were just tons of little shops like right on the port. Obviously, very smart place to make some money. The only thing though is all of the shops were so expensive. Like, none of them were really super affordable stuff. The majority of them were like any of the clothing ones. I don't know if there was a single article of clothing in like the first like 10-20 shops that was less than like $80. And so yeah, not super affordable. My husband and I were on a pretty tight budget for like little fun things, so we obviously couldn't get those, but we found this cute little like ceramic shop. It was so neat. I guess there's like a history with ceramics on Catalina Island, and they had some really neat stuff. They actually had like some older and like vintage ceramics like in this little back vault room. It was really neat, but we went and looked, and like a lot of it was dated, I think like early 1900s. There might have been some from the 1800s, but I don't remember for sure. We should have taken more pictures, but it was beautiful, beautiful stuff. And one of the little things that they had in the ceramic shop were little like name letters, or like just little letters. And so we got one for the first letter of each of me and my husband's names, and then a little at, or not an at, an and symbol, and a little pink heart. And they were like $6 each, so it was like $24 worth of cute little ceramics, but they were just adorable. And yeah, now we got them set up in our kitchen, and it's pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so that was really fun. And then there were just tons of other shops with beautiful stuff. There was a couple other shops that had cool ceramic things too. There was one that had, there were like ceramic paintings. They were so beautiful. I don't know if they were actually from Catalina Island. I think they may have been like imported, but they, it still was like, there was still like the historical element just because the island had a history of like ceramic stuff. So I still thought it was neat. They were super beautiful. I should have taken more pictures, but I get so in the moment, like I am just enjoying things that I don't always remember to take pictures, and I feel like that's totally okay. Because like, of course I would have loved to have more pictures now that we're home, but in the moment, it's like it wasn't about the pictures. It was just about enjoying being there and exploring. So it was all good. But yeah, so all the ceramic stuff was super neat. We went around like tons of different shops, and then they had like little golf cart rentals for people visiting the island. And my husband loves to drive. Like any opportunity that he can to be the driver, he will take it. And so being on a cruise for like the 2 days prior, because this was on Wednesday, we'd gotten on the ship early in the day on Monday, like early afternoon. But so he was dying to drive. He was like, I miss being in the car. And I'm like, well, okay, let's just do one of the little cart rentals. They were kind of expensive, and so I wasn't stoked about it. But I was like, I could tell it was really important to him. But we get over there and try to check out, and they're like, can we see an ID? And he's just like, yeah, whatever. And then they're like, oh, you have to be 25. And we're just like, what? Because I'm 21 and he's 23. So obviously neither of us are quite 25. They're like, you have to be 25 or older to rent. Sorry. And we're just like, oh, okay. So we went, there was 2 different little golf cart rental places. So we went to the other one to check, and it was the same thing. You had to be 25. But only that one was like, but the guy next door, they rent out bikes, and you don't have to be 25 to rent a bike. And my husband was just like, okay. And afterwards I was like, so you want to rent a bike? And he's like, no. Or maybe it was the other way. Either way, neither of us were super interested in renting a bike because, like I said, the golf carts were pretty expensive. The bikes were still like half the price of the golf carts. So less, but not enough less to warrant wanting to get a bike to ride in the rain. So we were without a ride, and but we wanted to explore like some of the little parts of the island because there was this cool like Coliseum looking thing a little ways away. And then up this hill, there was this cool, like, bell tower looking thing. We weren't really sure what it was, but we were like, let's go check that out. But obviously, like, our original plan had been to get the golf carts to go drive up to them. And so now we were like, okay, so what do we do? And I'm just like, well, why don't we just walk? And he was like, okay, so we did. We walked all the way down to the Coliseum thing. That one didn't take too long. And it was a pretty, like, flat path, just taking the sidewalks. And it was just pretty chill. We just walked over, we checked it out. Must have been some kind of, like, historical theater or casino or something. But now, they were doing tours for it and stuff. But we didn't want to pay the $20 for tours. Cool as it would have been. Like, if we actually knew more about what it was, maybe we would have done it. Like, if we had, like, heard about it before we even went there. But we were like, oh, it's okay. We don't need the tour. But it was really neat looking. And so it was fun to go check that out. And then we decided to try and figure out how to get to the, like, bell tower thing on top of the hill. And so, like I said, it was on top of a hill, so it was going to be a little more complicated to get there. But, like, obviously, like, the houses on Catalina Island, like, climb up the hill. So we're like, well, clearly there's a way to get there because it's, like, right past all these houses. So we just started following, like, this staircase that was on the side of the cliff. And we went up that a ways, and then eventually it, like, turned into, like, just, like, some streets. And so it didn't go directly to the clock tower. So we had to, like, keep, like, kind of... My husband, his navigation skills, phenomenal. It's kind of dangerous because I'm so used to I follow him with complete trust because I know that he can figure out how to get wherever he wants to go. Like, it is genuinely impressive. And so, if I'm ever left on my own somewhere or, like, I follow him somewhere and then for some reason I have to find my own way back, it's not going to go well because I'm just so used to following him because he is so good at navigating. And so he just navigates us through these random city streets, like, up this hill, and eventually we make it to the little bell tower, and it was really neat. We kind of checked it out, took some pictures. There was a few other people there. We gave a guy a water bottle because he just finished the hike too. Most of the people that were there took their golf carts, so when we saw the other guy that was like climbing up there behind us, we're like, yo, you want a water bottle? And then there was this random dog that walked by, and that was kind of fun. And I was like, oh, the dog looks like it needs water. Like, I noticed that, like, while we were walking up something to take a picture, so, like, we were kind of busy. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll give us some of our water to the dog. Like, we didn't have a lot left after giving the water bottle to the other guy. But I was so happy when a few minutes later I turned around and I see the guy, like, giving some of the water that we gave him to the dog. And I was like, it all works out. It all works out. So I was pretty happy about that. I was like, yep, that was what was meant to happen. So that was really neat. And the clock tower is just kind of cool. We hung out there for a little bit. And then at that point, we decided to check out, like, there was a little grocery store that we had looked up on Google Maps, like, what there was on the island. I think that's how my husband figured out how to navigate the random streets to get to the little bell tower thing, was using Google Maps. I don't know, but whatever it was, he figured it out pretty efficiently. But yeah, so we decided to go to the little shop next, and the bottled water there was cheaper than it is on the cruise ship. So we bought some bottled water to bring back with us, and it was my favorite brand of bottled water, Arrowhead. It just tastes better. It just does. Some people say water doesn't have a taste. I don't agree with them. I mean, like, they might not notice it, and that's okay, but for me, water has a taste, and Arrowhead is the best tasting water. At least in my experience. It's what I like best, and it's what I feel the best about drinking, because it doesn't, like, have weird additives and stuff. Because some water, believe it or not, has weird additives in it, just for fun. Actually, some types of water, Dasani, have additives that actually make you feel thirstier. So you feel like you need more water, so you feel like you need more Dasani. And, like, that's why at, like, sports events and stuff, like, a lot of the time, the only water they'll have is Dasani. It's insane. This is this whole thing. I won't get into that. We're talking about Catalina Island. But yeah, so we went and we checked out the grocery store, we bought water, and so we had the very heavy backpack getting back on the ship. But yeah, we kind of just wandered around a little more and then made our way back to the ship. Finally got on, and obviously my hair was just, the curls were gone. My makeup was all messy from the rain, but I was just smiling. I was like, that was so fun. And then I don't really remember what we did that night after we got back on. I think we, like, just went for dinner and one of the shows, but it was so fun. Catalina Island is a beautiful place. Not the best place to buy knickknacks and things, because, like I said, most of the shops were really expensive, but it was a really fun place, just absolutely beautiful. And, like, I wish I had learned more about the history of it and stuff, but, like, after seeing all, like, the vintage ceramic stuff, I'm like, it kind of makes me want to look into it more. But yeah, so that was a little bit about my time on Catalina Island. It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it, and I'd go back. I'd spend a month there, in fact. It was just such a serene, just beautiful place. I really enjoyed it, but I can't imagine it'd be a cheap place to spend a month at, so. But yeah, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.